Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Well, today I wanted to make a video talking about some upgrades and modifications that I've made to my Canon R7 that just make it a little bit more video focused. Okay, so you can see here I've added some things onto the camera that for me just make it a lot better for shooting video. Okay, so I'll go through these things one at a time. Now the very first thing is going to be this Canon EF to RF VND adapter. Now what this adapter allows you to do is have a variable ND in between the lens and the camera body itself. Now this has the advantage of giving you basically like a internal ND experience with the Canon R7 or any other of the mirrorless bodies that you can use this adapter with. And this allows you much more flexibility in controlling your exposure when shooting outdoors. Okay, so instead of just having to stop down the lens to control your exposure because you need your aperture set at 180 degrees to your frame rate, this allows you to have another different variable that you can control to get your exposure how you want it. Okay, next up is going to be something I've talked about before with this combination of the Canon R7, and that's going to be the Sigma, let's see if I can get a good shot of it here, the Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter 1.8 art lens. Now this is a great lens all around, but it is really perfect for video shooting, okay, especially in this setup. Now why is that? Well, it's a zoom lens. So with the crop factor, this becomes something around a 29mm to a 55mm on the Canon R7 with the 1.6 crop factor, which isn't a huge zoom range, but it is very usable. Sometimes I find myself wishing that it was just a little bit wider, but at least you have the option of like a 28-29mm wide field of view, which is great when you're shooting people in a documentary kind of style. On the long end, 55mm is about perfect when you want to be shooting people again, but sometimes I wish it was a little wider. But why choose this lens? Why not choose something like a 16 to 35mm, like I have a Canon 16 to 35mm f4 IS? Well, the real advantage of this lens is also in the aperture. So it's a 1.8, which gives you a lot more flexibility again in setting your exposure. Now that combined with the VND, which is going to have you stop have you lose at least half a stop of light when it's attached, even when it's on its lower setting, means you're going to have the most flexibility being able to shoot in dimly lit situations and also in like brightly lit situations in the middle of the day. And there's going to be enough latitude within this combination to suit 90% of the situations that you're going to find yourself in. Now the next thing that I added very recently to the camera is going to be this SmallRig cage. Okay, it's the Black Mamba cage for the Canon R7. And why put a cage on a mirrorless camera like this? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that it provides protection for the camera. Two is that it adds a little bit more weight and stability to the camera when shooting handheld. And three is going to be the fact that you can then use the cage to mount different devices and add-ons to the camera. Okay. Now the main reason I got the SmallRig cage was so that I could attach a top handle and an external microphone. But this is a great cage. It's one of those things where you have to decide for yourself. If you're shooting photo and video, it can get in the way and it can be a bit more cumbersome. If you're shooting photo, like I prefer just without the cage on there shooting photo, but it's one of those decisions that you have to make for yourself, whether you're going to rig out your camera or not, and it's going to depend on how much video you're shooting. Okay, so the next thing that I added is going to be this top handle, and this is just a cheap, light, SmallRig top handle. This particular one has an RE locating screw-in mount, but you can get different mount options, like a NATO rail mount, and such that are easy to take on and off. But for me, I mainly leave this on my camera, so I'm happy just to have the screw in where I know it sits there, and it's all good. So why use a top handle? Well, it just provides a lot more flexibility in how you hold and connect with the camera. You can shoot a lot of low shots. You can let the camera hang, do walking shots. I actually find it very comfortable for shooting up like this, and it adds more stability when you're shooting handheld video. And I have noticed a significant increase in the stability of my handheld video since using a top handle. Alright, so the last thing that I've added for this basic, what I would call a basic video rig build out, is going to be an external microphone. Now this is a cheap TackStar, can't read the serial number there, but this is this is just a cheap external microphone that I bought a few years back with my EOS R, and I haven't really used it very much. It provides decent audio, but of course you could go for something more expensive like a Rode or a Shure mic, and that would probably give you even better quality audio. But for me, for this basic build, I find it just helps provide a little bit better audio, and it also provides a little bit more weight to the camera, which again is going to help with that stability when you're hand holding shots. Okay, one of the main problems with these lighter mirrorless cameras is just the fact that because they are so light, all the micro jitters that you have from your hands get transferred straight through to the camera and to the sensor. So having something like this where you've added weight to the camera is great because it helps mitigate some of those micro jitters. Now it's not going to get rid of all of them. For that you'd need to add more weight, a monitor, a external battery, something like that. But I have found that there is a real difference between this and no cage, no top handle. The weight of the lens is going to affect that as well. But I'll put some sample footage, and as I think you can see, even shooting without image stabilization, with the image stabilization turned off, you can get some really smooth, natural looking footage using this kind of a small, affordable setup with the R7. Okay guys, so that's just a video I wanted to put out because I've been thinking about doing this for a little while, and just in the last month I thought, look, let's give it a go and let's build this out and see what happens. My next step is probably going to be to add an external monitor for doing just to help when outside. I find the screen on the R7 is great, and you've also got the viewfinder as well. But sometimes when you're outside in the bright daylight, it can be a little bit hard to see the screen, to check for your zebras and your exposure and just see things in general and manual focus and all that sort of thing. Alright guys, so let me know what you think. Is this something that you would consider doing with your Canon R7? Rigging it out? Do you shoot a lot of video on it? If so, what are some of your favorite features of the R7? For me, it's going to be the video quality, the choice of image stabilization or being able to turn it off, the auto level in the camera, and just how easy it is to use, and the fact that it doesn't overheat. Okay, I've never had this camera overheat, so I got a heating warning once, but it's never overheated on me. Okay guys, so let me know down in the comments, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.